Hi everybody, this is Dale. Good morning and welcome to my channel, Not Too Shabby Chic. This morning I want to do a flip through of my giant tag journal that I mentioned in a previous video that I was working on. I think I even showed a page or two. So I finally finished it. I've got a couple little tweaks to do. However, it's ready to show and it's available. If anyone's interested, you could private message me. And let me encourage you that if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button and the little bell so you can be notified when I post videos. Again, I say this every time, I'm not able to post as many as I want, but I am working towards doing more videos, tutorials, and things like that. So let's get started. I used some thin cloth. It was white and I tore it so it has a raggedy look. And I used gilding paste to give it that sparkle, and I thought that turned out really pretty. So that's how it's tied, it's cinched up or tied up. Let's open and go inside after I show you the cover. It's a ring bound binder. I tied the same cloth little rags to the rings. This is page 1. I used that vintage brooch for the cover and had the chains come down. This says Live in the Moment. It's a Tim Holtz metal tag, and I had little brads there with some cardboard. I love cardboard. Vintage trims and what have you. A dress form that I kind of decorated. So that's page 1, and the vintage laces in the back. Then on this page, I think I got my, make sure those hinges are in the back so it'll open up good. There we go. This is the inside of the first page, second page. This is a little mini journal, Be Authentic, another little dress form. I got that from Graphics Fairy, I believe, and a piece fell off. I'll have to put that back. I had a little gem there and I think I knocked it off. Anyway, that's one of my tweaks, but kind of decorated that. It's a piece of vintage jewelry and just some trims and lace and what have you. And so you open it up and you have craft colored stuff that I've inked on every page to journal. Lots of journaling room there. Then on the inside here we have pockets made from book page, where I did folds. I got that idea from JD at Willowbound Journals. Tag for the Tim Holtz girl and my sloppy stitching, and that one looks super sloppy, like one of my grandkids did it actually. You can journal on the back. This is a little journaling spot with roses. This says flower, beautiful flower unfolding, and I thought of us as that way. It reminds me of a beautiful flower unfolding. We can stay closed up and not allow anyone to see it, and be afraid, or we can open up and let people see the beauty God created in each of us. And this is a tag with a flower napkin on it, and I think someone sent me this in Happy Mail, and then I sloppy stitched around it, tied some little gauzy taupe colored ribbon. You can journal on the back. That's that page. This is a hidden envelope, sort of, and this was a word cluster I did, and I do have a tutorial on my channel about doing word clusters. But there's one, and it says charming. Come on, there we go, charming. You just, any book that you could go to the Dollar Tree and get books and cut out words that you could use, and I ink them and make little clusters. This is magnetized, and you open it up and it's kind of a tight fit, but I have a faux postcard from a paper pack, journal on, and I sewed around. This is a to-do list, kind of long. I'm sure we all have long to-do lists that we need to write down, and then you can journal on the back as well. So that is what is in there. Lots of little hidden treasures in this journal. My husband thinks it's a work of art. It's one of his favorites that I've ever done. And I have to say it's like one of mine too. Here's this page. I used some negatives. Used to in the old days, I can't believe that now those are old days. We would take a roll of film, get it developed, get our pictures back and the negatives so that you could have them developed again if you ever needed to. And I found a bunch of these in some of our pictures, so use those for journaling. This is a frame I got from JD, Willow Bound Journals, and this is an old snap, a vintage snap and vintage buttons, and did some layering. Again, a paper folded book page idea that I got from JD, and these are some tags that I made. This is a Tim Holtz card, and that looks like a big sunspot on her face like mine, but it's not. It's just a dent in there, and when I inked it, it showed up, but it just helps make it look old. And I used a smocking stitch, so there's that. This is out of a paper pack, and I did the chicken scratch stitch. That's what I called it, because when chickens walk, that's kind of the tracks they make, so I call that a chicken scratch. I don't know if that's what it's really called. I'm sure there's a fancier word for it. More chicken scratching. And then this is a little spot, and it says, "They are able because they think they are able," by Virgil. Not my brother-in-law Virgil. This Virgil's really famous. You see him all around, and I don't really know who he is. I did the chicken scratch stitching, and then you can journal on the inside. Coffee dyed doily pieces I put on the back. I love this phrase because it's what God tells us. You know, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So, he gave us that ability, and we can think positively or negatively. It's up to us. The more positive you are, the more positive things will happen in your life, and the more peace you'll have, and the more other people will want to be around you and associate with you. Everyone loves to be around a happy, positive person. You don't find many people seeking out people who are negative and always complaining and whining. So if you don't have any friends and nobody wants to come do stuff with you, maybe you're one of those. I don't know. Hopefully not. But try to remember to be positive, and God helps us do that, because I can't do it on my own on a lot of days. Next page. This is really cute, and this is my favorite page. Let me move that out of the way. This is just a piece of fabric of this over a plastic little window that goes inside binders, I guess, and I got it at a reuse store. This is from an old belt that I had. I took off apart and used it on journals, and I love this trim. I got it in Happy Mail a long time ago. I've been hoarding this last piece of it and decided to go ahead and use it, and I just think it's pretty. These are 2 tags. I made this one. Someone sent me in Happy Mail this gorgeous cameo. I love cameos, and I've hoarded that for a long time and finally decided to use it. And vintage buttons and lace, journaling spot on the back. This Penny Matthews Red sent me in a swap we did sometime back on Franken pages, and she, oh, get back, I squished her little envelope. And I've hoarded this and decided I needed to use it, but it's adorable, and you can journal on the back. So those go tucked in there. This is cute little, it's a dress form underneath. No charge for the extra strings. I just took a dress form and a little ribbon of paper and glued lots of fibers and lace strips and what have you to the little strip, and I kind of was inspired. This idea was inspired somewhat by Paula Davis Ritchie sometime back, and I had forgotten about it, but then it kind of came to mind and I made it my own. Anyway, and I wrapped that around the dress form. These are, you know, off of an old necklace or pair of earrings that I dangled like a belt with the rows of chains. This is a piece of Avon jewelry, and this belonged to my mom, so it's very special. It was a little earring, a vintage piece of a vintage earring. Some of the word clusters that I did, this says, "Well, you get it." That's not a vintage coin, it's just a coin. And then behind it, you got a place for a tag. And I made this tag. It looks kind of like metal. You can almost see the raised rose. This is a napkin in the background, and there's a rose pattern in there as well. So I took different pieces of napkin and just kind of collaged it, decoupaged it, or whatever you want to call it, onto this tag. Then I did some gold embossing powder, gesso, gilding paste, and stain, and I just kind of layered that look. And then it ended up looking like this, and I really like it. So I may yet do a journal cover like that, but I'll do a tutorial on how I did that at some point. Gilding paste and stain on the back so you can journal. So that just gets tucked right behind my little dress form, which is my idea. Yay! Occasionally I have a brain fart. I don't know if you're supposed to say that on YouTube. And have a good idea. And this giant tag was my idea too, so I was really excited that I thought of it and finally finished. I've been working on it forever. This is a envelope open. It says take a look, using one of my word clusters, and you can check out my tutorial again. This idea came from G.I. is her name, Kerr, K-E-R-R. Just the envelope with the flip out idea. The finishing and the decoration are mine. One of my word clusters, take a look. These are Tim Holtz little brads. Aren't they cute? And then this was just a cardstock envelope, or a cardstock that I made into an envelope, and I just stressed using the same method I did on the tag minus the gold embossing. So I did some gilding paste, gesso, gilding paste, and stain, and layered that look, and it almost feels like leather. You just have to feel it to understand. Then this is more of the gold than it is the stain, and you just fold it out in frame here, and you can journal, and then on the back, and I've got to touch that up. So that is that, and then these tags inside, this is a negative that I took a Tim Holtz, no, not a Tim Holtz, a picture, I think I got that from Tsunami Rose, and put it behind the negative. Antique doily. This to me is called the Heartbeat Stitch, and a vintage stamp I got in Happy Mail. Journal on the back. This says Destiny. It's a Project Life card, and I did a vine stitch all the way around. This, isn't she gorgeous? I just love her, and it was shiny, so I used some clear gesso to knock the shine off and did a vine stitch around. I thought it went well with her, and I glued coffee dyed paper on the back with my little paper doily impression in there. And I don't remember where I got her from, so if somebody knows, they can comment. Oh, I can't remember, but I really love her. This page I love. It's very simple. I did a belly band, some cardboard, vintage doily, an earring, and I loved, I don't know who I would have worn these back in the 80s for sure. 2 brads, and then 2 tags. This tag is one of my favorites. I love shaker tags, and my granddaughter does too, but it's paper, so she tries to eat it. So I have to figure out a way to make her one that's not paper. And this is another Dale idea where I made it my own on the shaker tag. I didn't want all of the stuff to fall to the bottom. The background is a piece of cardstock that I used some gold embossing powder, but you can't hardly tell on camera. It's got a raised pattern, and I sewed off sections so that the sequins and seed beads and things would stay in each section, and I really liked the way that turned out. So the back, I sewed some coffee dyed paper, heavily inked, and did the gilding paste for a journaling spot. This was from Penny Matthews Red in our swap that I was hoarding, and I just thought it went good with this journal. Journaling spot on the back. So that is that. Then this page, super cool. This is a cluster I did, just made up ahead of time with a vintage buttons, and then I added these little taupe, little dangly beads. This is magnetized. This is an old car, and it's a flip up, and there's a magnet behind each heart. You flip it there, and then it's also a pocket. And I took a little cardstock and made a little tiny envelope and decoupage napkin, which you can barely see behind it. See the butterfly? And there's like 2 or 3 different pieces. And then I did the same method on the other tag minus the gold embossing powder. I just took gilding paste and stain and gesso, and it feels like leather. I love the way it feels after you do this process. And then I put a little heart there to hold the envelope down, you can see where I just sewed the back. You got a little card in here for journaling. I didn't do anything to it but ink it. So, and then of course I stitched all around the envelope in just a plain stitch. So that goes there. This I got from Paula Davis Ritchie, the base, and something I won on a channel, and I've had it for a long time, and I reinforced it and added a few things. I added this puzzle piece cluster, and then the lace trim, and this is an old piece of jewelry. And I had these tags. This was from Marissa Shillum, sent me that, and I colored it. And it's got the smocking stitch, and you can journal on it. I made this tag, which is really cute. It's got one of the Tim Holtz paper doll things. And it says, few words passed between them. And when you've got good friends, you don't have to have a lot of words. Although I know that is rare, because women do have a lot of words. But I'm just saying, when you've got a good friend and someone that you're close to, you just know each other, and you don't have to say a lot of things. You just know when they're having a good day or a bad day sometimes, and when you need to call because they're on your mind. Sloppy stitching, journal on the back, so I love that tag. This tag is really cool. It says, attitude is everything, and I've got this from Tsunami Rose. This picture, and she looks like she's got some tude, doesn't she? Yes, she does. So seam binding, and then a zigzag stitch with that. So that is that page, and this awesome pocket. I just glued it down on 3 sides, obviously, and left this to be a pocket in the back. Then I glued a little piece across here, this strip, to make this tiny tags. A pocket for the tiny tag. There's a key and a heart. This one has flowers. This one has little birds. So I think they're cute. And then there's hidden places. This is a journaling card with faith is the evidence of things not seen. The substance. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. The substance of things hoped for. This translation says, now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. And that's another translation. Beautiful lilies on the front, and I did a vine stitch journaling spot on the back. That goes in there, and then I used this file folder that's backwards, so you can pretend you're from a different country where they do things from right to left instead of left to right, but it says dreams come true. And I just did my sloppy stitching, but you can journal in there or tuck papers in there, whatever you would like. But I love this little hidden pocket I created in the back. So that's that page. Then the last page is this. I did a belly band with the negatives with the pictures underneath that I got from Tsunami Rose. Some antique jewelry pieces that I included. Come on, there we go. On that, and this is an altered file folder. This is a tag I made. It's got a seam binding with some of that gilding paste. Cute little girl picture, some seam binding here, a butterfly. It says create. This came from Penny Matthews Red, but I kind of altered it a little bit and added some stuff to it, and you can journal on the back. And I only altered it because I messed it up by accident. Sorry, Penny. I glued paper doily on this, and it goes here to this side. And the words, phrases that I cut out of books that I've got a whole bucket full of, you know, you should do that because you can have your own word phrases. You don't need to buy them. This said oops a daisy, and I saved it, and this daisy paper, I thought it looked cute there. So this opens up. You have this for journaling space. It's just a little jewelry thing I got at Michael's. Got some glue there. It says, "See what I mean?" It's one of my word clusters, and I have a tutorial on my channel. This is a envelope that I made a pocket with some tags that I made. Different stitching. And this envelope opens up. That, and I made it look like a faux envelope there, and like coffee running down. And I love this quote by Barbara Johnson: "If you can learn to laugh in spite of the circumstances that surround you, you will enrich others, enrich yourself, and more than that, you will last." Laughing and being happy and having joy help us get through anything. The Bible says the joy of the Lord is our strength. And there's a reason it says that, because it's true. And learn to laugh at yourself and quit being so serious all the time. But don't be like my husband and be a jokester 24/7 when somebody's trying to be serious. That's not a time to laugh. So you open it up, and here's more journaling spots, pages. It says, "Just at the moment." It's another little word phrase I cut out of a book. I made this double pocket with torn edges. I love that look. And so I have these tags, tape measuring, because it kind of reminded me it went with the dress form. Some measuring, how to alter a dress. You can journal on the back of these. Made to look like a vintage pattern cover, journal spot. And this I got, I don't remember where I got it. It's Gabby Deslis. She's apparently was famous. But I love the dress and the way she's standing. I guess she was a ballerina, and I'd call that a snowflake stitch. So put that there. Isn't that cool? And then on the back, I actually hand sewed all these buttons, so I call it kind of like a button collage around this paper, and that's a little, even a button needle. Sewed the thread and glued it down, so it looked like, you know, I'm still sewing. And then I did a little collagey thing down here. Isn't that cute? You can journal on it. So that is my journal, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've not subscribed, please subscribe, hit the like button, and the little bell so you can be notified when I make journals or tutorials or whatever I decide to turn on the camera and do. I hope you guys keep joy in your life and laughter, and be sure you laugh at yourself today. Hope you have a great day. Be blessed. Love you guys. Bye.